Good evening, everybody, those here in person and those joining us virtually via Zoom. I'd like to call to order the January 19th, 2021 Board of Education meeting at 7:04 p.m. Sarah, good evening. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Berardi?
Here.
Mr. Biondo?
Here.
Mrs. Lala? Here. Mr. Ludston?
Here.
Mr. Mazzano?
Here.
Mr. Palazzo?
I'm here.
Mr. Tribuzio?
Here.
Thank you, Sarah. Quorum has been established. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Biondo, can you read the mission statement of the district?
Yes, President Palazzo. The mission of Norwich School District 80 is inspiring educational excellence in a nurturing environment.
Thank you. The District 80 Board of Education would like to take a moment of silence now. And the moment of silence is for Matthew Crizal, who was a member of the District 80 family who we had lost most recently. So we'll observe a moment of silence at this time. Okay, moving on to our action item. I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented and or modified.
I'll second.
Motion made by Frank, seconded by Ms. Wall. Sarah, can I please have a roll call?
Mr. Tribuzio? Mr. Biondo?
Yes.
Mr. Ludston?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzano?
Yes.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala? Yes.
Okay, that motion does carry. Again, I want to welcome our visitors tonight. We are adhering to local and state guidelines due to COVID-19 virus. We have one person here that's joining the board, Alan Argos from STR, and want to welcome everybody who's also joining us virtually, as mentioned before. Correspondence to the district. The district did receive an email from Robbins Swords. Public participation is available tonight via Zoom. What I'm going to ask anybody who wants to participate in public participation to do is please sign in the queue. Ms. Palmer and Mrs. Guzik have the computers up. Please sign in with your name that you do want to speak in public participation. And again, we will adhere to the rules to public participation if we do have any requests for that. So at this time, we'll wait a minute or two if need be. Ms. Palmer, Mrs. Guzik, please let us know if there's any public participation.
You excited for class tonight, Dan? Yeah. You have your mask, right? Do you have one or two?
What I am going to ask is anybody that is joining us virtually to please keep your microphone on mute unless you are signing in to speak. It is still an established board meeting. We're trying to adhere to the rules as always.
All right, are you getting anyone in the chat? No, I am not either. We have no one in the chat.
Are there any technical difficulties to why it wouldn't be coming through? Are you able to send a message to the public?
We are able to send a message to the public.
Okay, because there's quite a bit on the agenda tonight, also a closed session that the board needs to discuss. So once we pass public participation, in all honesty, I do not want to go back to it tonight. Not on tonight's agenda. So if we need to give it a minute or two, I just want to make sure that it is working properly and everybody has ample time and the ability to sign in.
Do a verification that the ones at home can hear what you're saying right now.
I'm going to defer to my
Yeah,
technical specialist to my
getting
left.
some texts that say
trying to speak up. The board has also been advised to, when speaking, to speak up so the public can hear. We understand it's on Zoom, and we're going to do our best to make sure that they hear. Ms. Palmer, Mrs. Goose, if you have any reason to believe that
I
it's
have
not
no
coming.
reason to believe anyone is signing in, and I believe everyone can hear us.
Okay.
This doesn't sound a little muffled, but then you can hear us.
Yeah.
Moving on to tonight's agenda, FOIA request. Norwich Spotlight, George Vallis, on December 28, 2020, requested a copy of the new 2020 through 2022 school teacher's contract. At this time, I'll make note, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, a copy of that contract is available online on our district website for viewing purposes. But the district did receive one FOIA request. Moving on to our presentations.
Question, in the FOIA request, it states that the link was there, but the document was not. Did we get verification of that?
Sarah?
Contract is on that.
Yeah. Are you asking if it's online?
Yeah, so in the actual request, it stated that the link to it was there, but when the link is clicked on, there is no copy. I was asking for
I understand. All right, so the district secretary, Sarah Bussick, is saying that there
We
is.
fixed it.
Okay.
All right.
There was
So-
an error. We fixed it.
Okay, good. Sounds like it's up now, and there's a link online to access it. Presentations. Our first presentation will be Raymond James Associates Incorporated, specifically Miss Elizabeth Hennessy.
I see Elizabeth Hennessy is online. We'll let her go ahead and present.
Good evening, can you hear me?
Very well.
Yes, we can.
Great. Will I be able to share a document with you?
We will make you a co-host, and you are now a co-host.
If not, that's okay. I can just reference the document.
Elizabeth,
Let me
are you
just
able to
try it.
copy?
Oh, it looks like I can.
You should be able to, yeah.
Okay. Great, so thank you so much for having me tonight. I am looking forward to working with you all and the district to issue your bonds. The one thing I wanted to update you on is we updated the numbers today on the issuance of 1.4 million working cash bonds, and the interest rates have come down nicely. But we looked at also refunding the Series 2010 bonds as a way to maybe gain some more savings. So this, what you're looking at on the screen is our original plan for issuing 1.4 million of working cash bonds. If we go to the next page, we looked at refunding those existing Series 2010 bonds where the interest rates were approximately 4%. And we had some savings, not a lot because it's a small issue, but it really is over $9,000 better than our base plan by refunding those 2010 bonds. We then took it one step further and said, what if we are able to get onto the meeting, get a special meeting in February that would allow us to get onto the 2020 tax levy for bonds. If we're able to do that and access that levy as well as the refunding, that brings the savings versus the original plan up to $14,300. So we would recommend moving forward with the refunding as a way of lowering the interest cost to the community on the borrowing of this debt. And I would mention the savings from refunding are net of any fees, so these are true savings versus what we were originally looking at. So that was the first thing I wanted to suggest to the board and just see if there's any questions at this point.
Wish there was a savings of $14,000 for all of our special meetings. No. But we would have to commit to a special meeting in order to realize this savings. So please know that.
Okay. So if there's no questions, there's one other document I wanted to share with you, and that is the financing schedule. So tonight, the board is looking at, let's see if I can
We all have this.
get it here.
Elizabeth, we're good. I printed that for them.
I don't know why I'm not able to see it. Hold on 1 second. Let me try that again. Get to this view. Exit. There it is. Okay. Now I'm going to try this again. Thanks for your patience. Screen, share, and there it is. Okay. Can everybody see this financing schedule?
Yeah.
So tonight, the board is considering the resolution of intent which authorizes the issuance of $1,425,000 of working cash bonds. Once this resolution is approved, the notice of intent will be published in the local newspaper on Thursday, January 21st. Tonight, the board president is also authorizing a public hearing on the issue of bonds to be scheduled for the February 16th meeting. So that notice will go in the paper as well. So once that public hearing is completed, we will look to have a special meeting on Thursday, February 25th. And that would be the final meeting the board would be required to have to approve what's called the parameters bond resolution. So that sets forth the parameters for issuing the bonds, the number of years, the interest rates, and so on and so forth. And then when we actually sell the bonds, which is going to be either through a negotiated bond sale or a private placement, most likely a private placement given the size of the issue and the lower costs associated with it, board delegates will approve that final resolution. And the board delegates include the superintendent and the board president and your financial consultant. So that's the last legal action the board will have to take. We will move forward with the sale and we will close the bond issue on March 25th. I apologize, there's one more action. That would be scheduled for April 13th. When you get the bond proceeds, that $1.4 million is going to go into the working cash fund. So the board needs to approve a resolution that would move that money into the O&M fund and the capital projects fund to allow it to be spent on your capital projects this summer. So with that, I'll entertain any questions on the schedule, the resolution of intent, public hearing, any of these things.
Anything from the board?
Not a question, but in regards to the attachments tonight, do you have them via email?
I have them via email, and this is what she showed you.
Sure. I would like to get it to the Finance Committee.
people.
So if you
Absolutely. She just got it to me this afternoon, so we'll make it available for the board packet as well as the Finance Committee.
Perfect. Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay. Sorry if there was a question, I may not have heard it, so everybody okay?
We're great, Elizabeth. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. All right, thanks so much. Nice to see you, and again, I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Question for Stephanie. On the proposed finance schedule, it's going to be posted somewhere?
Yes,
Again, on
all
the
of these documents were sent to me late this afternoon, so they will be publicly available, part of the board packet, as well as sent to the Finance Committee.
So for the community members that are joining us via Zoom, these documents will all be online on our website, available for reference. Our next presentation is STR Partners Architect, Mr. Alan Armbruster. Alan? Hi. Hi.
Need me anywhere specific?
So, I guess we can put you, let me turn this around so they can see. Hold on.
All right.
You know what, not turn my computer. Stephanie, I'll turn mine.
Sure. There you are. Okay, good.
There you go.
Hi.
Right in the middle, if you want to just go in circles.
Yeah, in the round.
Theater in the round.
So tonight, we've been talking about the 10-year life safety survey. We're essentially finished with that process in terms of the generation of material. Now we're to the point where we can file. The timing of that seems logical as it dovetails well with your financial report from earlier. So we're in pretty good shape. So what's involved is we take our product, download it in the Illinois State Board of Education website in a very specific manner. It has to be done exactly right. Then they review that. It'll take us approximately 10 days, 2 weeks to download it. The review is a little bit open-ended. And they're all working remote down in Springfield now, too. And we've noticed the pace of review has slowed from the traditional turnaround. So I would expect a minimum of a 3 to 4 week review period on their part, and then they approve it. It is not uncommon they come back with some questions and clarifications during that process. Sometimes they'll even reject an item. It's very rare, and particularly in our case, we've really done a minimum approach, so there really aren't controversial items. There are some things that are kind of natural hot buttons for them, but we've avoided all those. So once that's approved, we're officially filed, and then the meter starts. So just to review, urgent items are supposed to be done within a year, required items 3 years, and recommended is open-ended. So our intent is to file the urgent and required. The recommended items are more a tool for Joe and Pat in terms of additional things to do within their piece. So that just requires authorization of you to allow us to file it. Next step after that would be to create a set of documents, construction documents and permit documents that would allow Joe and Pat to go ahead and build those repairs. The rule doesn't delineate how much you need to spend for it. It doesn't delineate whether it needs to be done by a contractor or in-house. It just means it needs to be repaired. And the process is, once the repair is effected, we inspect that, and then we sign off on that, and that essentially closes those items for the life safety, and then you're done. So you're caught up. I mean, this will be a significant piece to get the district fully in compliance, so I'm happy to be more on the cusp of that. So, good deal. Elizabeth Hennessy, I've worked with her an awful lot. She's the goods. She really knows the bond stuff really well. She will be able to return the best value to you. She's really a bird dog in that respect. So tonight I just need an authorization to go ahead and file for the 10-year life safety survey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Adam.
Moving on to our administrative reports. First report will be District Superintendent, Ms. Stephanie Hall.
All right. So the first thing I'd like to address is the fact that our school community was just really deeply affected this week by the loss of Matthew Kruzalik. And I think all of our teachers at Lee, really came together to support the family. But I want to take a moment and thank our community, because we sent out that GoFundMe link, but we also had other people who stepped up and gave money anonymously in some cases, and really supported this family. So I just want it publicly said, and thank you for all of you out there who supported this family. They were very, very grateful for everything that the school as well as the community did. So it was just a really sad week last week, but also a really heartwarming opportunity for us to support someone in our community. So moving on from there, I'm going to highlight a couple of things. I know Mr. Trabuzio is going to be talking a lot about our buildings and grounds, so I'm going to skip over that. One of the things that I wanted the public to know, as well as the board, is that the Norwood Park Township superintendents have asked for a grant from Norwood Park Township for student tuition to an extra summer camp this summer from July 26th through August 6th. And we are starting to plan this extra, this would be in addition to our summer school here in District 80. This would be a local experience for all of our students, an opportunity for them to come together and you know, it's still being planned, it's very early, but they have pledged some money, some financial support for our students to have an extra 2 weeks of learning, playing, social emotional, getting back together, because we all hope that we're back in person in a more normal school situation next year. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that. Our own District 80 summer school is in the planning stages. We will be bringing a proposal next board meeting for a District 80 summer school. It will run June 10th through June 30th. It's 15 days. So more information on that in the next board meeting. We're super excited that teachers are part of the next round of vaccines, and Michelle and I have been readying our staff. We've gathered the information we need, so as soon as 1B group is, right now they're vaccinating 1A, we are 1B in education, so we're super excited about that. We don't know when that will be, but we anticipate it's coming. We're starting to hear a lot of information. I did volunteer District 80 to be a vaccination site. They asked, I said sure, especially if it means my teachers can get their vaccines right here at school. So I will let everyone know when I know. Meanwhile, this week at Giles, we are taking MAP tests tomorrow and Thursday. These are incredibly important tests for our 8th graders. Our 8th graders use these scores for high school placement. So we have offered our 8th graders the opportunity to either come in person both days or remain remote both days so that they can remain consistent in their experience. So tomorrow, for example, we will have students in taking MAP tests, only 8th graders on campus. There's probably about 20 of them that have let me know so far. And they are allowed to come in. We will put them in separate classrooms and monitor them taking their MAP tests, since it is so important to them. The rest of the school will be taking MAP online from home tomorrow, and then if they are in person on Thursday, they will take MAP in person when they come to school.
Ms. Mullen, sorry
Yes.
to cut you off.
No, that's great.
In the chat room, they're saying they cannot hear you at all.
Well, that's not good.
So maybe just
Can
turn
you
your
do that one,
unmute.
and then I can finish
I
one?
can.
Just unmute your computer.
Well,
It'll just make a noise if she unmutes.
Oh,
see, I can
my bad.
unmute, but, yeah, hold on. I will unmute. Okay. Ooh, that's fine.
Yeah, turn on the speaker.
Hold on.
Yep, because that's speaking back to reverse. There you go.
All right. Everybody can hear me now?
Hear me now.
All right. So I was speaking about MAP testing at Giles, and I was talking about how we are offering our 8th graders an opportunity to make their MAP test consistent, either 2 days remote or 2 days in person, because it is so important for high school placement. Our 8th graders had an opportunity to meet with Ridgewood this past week to orient themselves to Ridgewood, so that was exciting for them. And finally, I did mention summer school, so that will all be coming next board meeting. Any questions?
I do, but I'm going to let the rest of the board go first, if anybody has anything. Ms. Palmer, you mentioned teacher vaccine, right?
Yes.
Without getting specific, you talk to your staff. I want to make sure our district is in line and proper paperwork or proper sign-ups have been done. So what comes to my mind is when the vaccine becomes available to 1B, which the category teachers are in,
Correct.
are we where we need to be to those who want the vaccine? They just have to go to a specific location and get it? Are we signed up?
We are signed up. I've even volunteered us to be a location where they give the shots.
If we don't get that location, if we're not one of those,
Correct.
our teachers, we're putting them in position. If they want the vaccine, we're signed, where we need to be.
Yeah, as far as we know, we have all the information we need to go right ahead. Absolutely.
What I'm trying to say is I don't want to take a back seat for our district. As
Nope.
long as we're signed up and those who want it, we want to give them that opportunity.
As soon as possible.
Yep.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yep. And we in Giles are inviting our students back on Thursday. We've honored every request for learning mode. So those who wanted hybrid, those who wanted 100% remote, or those who wanted 5 days a week. So we were able to get them in, and it's truly a credit to my teachers and my staff who were working hard to make that happen. All the way down to the B&G staff who were making sure we had enough desks in every room. So it's going to be great to see the kids back on Thursday.
Question, real quick. In regards to the township money for the summer school, now is that a flat amount, or is that depending on how many kids do sign up for it, or how have we
The
figured-
logistics are still being worked out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yes, one more question. So, what were the numbers of students that are deciding to come in full-time? So, where are we at number-wise with what's going to be in each school?
I would have to look that data up. We do have a significant number of students increase that want to stay 100% remote. So I would have to get you the exact percentages. But we do not, it was interesting to see. We do not go over 20 students in a classroom. We're still maintaining our distance. We're still masking. Temperature taking. Health checks will again be, happening. Everyone needs to use their crisis go. The number of students in each grade level at Giles increased by at least 15 students who wanted to stay 100% remote. So we are making that happen.
I'm going to piggyback off that just a little bit. Tim, that's a great question. When you do have that data put together, can that be emailed to the board for reference, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Stephanie. Michelle?
I will figure out how to mute. Yeah. Okay, I am muted.
Sound.
And sound.
Okay, thank you. I would like to just begin thanking Stephanie and Dave and the student assistant team for all of their help for Lee and the tragedy we went through last week with Matthew. I have never been so proud of all of the people that have come together to support not just the students, but also the teachers. We had several meetings with the teachers and giving them support because it's a very difficult thing to go through. I attended obviously the wake, but also the funeral on Saturday, along with a few other staff members from Lee. And what I spoke with his family about is that this time we would like to plan a memorial service for Matthew held here at Lee, but in the spring, when we can be outside and be socially distanced and have space, and then decide exactly what we're going to be doing for Matthew to leave his mark on Lee School. Matthew started Lee School in kindergarten, so he has been with us all of those years, and was truly a joy to have in class, and just a wonderful little boy and a big fighter for the 18 months that he went through this battle with cancer. We're leaving the orange ribbons up, around Lee School for Matthew, and are continuing to communicate with his family for support and anything that we can do. So turning to the Lee schedule, Lee has about 67% of our students in person. Really proud to say that 100% of our first grade, which is a grade we've talked about a little bit before, is going to be in person or fully remote. So some of our students are still doing a 2 or 3 day hybrid, but not in first grade. First grade, we have all of our students in who want to be in at any point. So we're really proud of that. We have about 70 first grade students in. We're really happy because first grade, you know, as you remember, when they were in school March 13th as kindergartners and, you know, didn't finish being in school. And some of them were half-day students who've never even been in school for a full day yet. So they're an area that we really are putting a lot of our energy and a lot of resources towards working with them. All of the students received their first choice. So if they chose to be 2 or 3 days, they received that. If they chose to be in 5 days, they received that, which we're really proud of. This is something we weren't able to achieve in our schedule before. And as I would echo what Stephanie said, this was driven by our teaching staff. They've had to rearrange things, move things around, and help work with feeling comfortable on the change that we're looking for at Lee. With this schedule, we will have all of our students who are in person to receive morning instruction from their teachers from 8:15 to 12:15. If they're in person or if they're live streaming online, which all of our classrooms except for first grade will be doing. That then allows the Lee staff to be working with different groups in the afternoon for support. We also are moving towards a Tier 2 intervention plan. So if you recall, we had offered our WIN program or our What I Need program in the fall with under the guidelines of the MTSS model that all of our students needed some type of extra booster. We're now looking at the data from FastBridge, which we did in December, and from MAP, which we also did in December. And now we can see where we would pinpoint supports for our students. Letters went home on the Friday pickup for parents to know if their child was qualified for an intervention group, and those groups will start on Monday, the 25th. That's a very large undertaking, but we're really proud of all of our work that we've done here, and are really looking forward to those getting started. That is typically something that starts much earlier than now. However, under the advice of doing a core plan, since we did have missed instruction last year, we decided to stay with core, and now we're providing interventions. We also are building in an additional 30 minutes of instruction for our students who are all remote. So these are students that don't come in at all. We're providing some extra morning instruction for them and the support groups in the afternoon for the other students. So it's a big shift in schedule for us. We are starting SEL tier groups for students that might need social emotional support from our student service teams. And we created individual student schedules. So each student, a schedule will be shared with them that is just their schedule. Since the students don't all have the same things going on, they all have an individual schedule that they can just go into a Google Doc and click on their link every day, and it's just for them. So if they have speech services, if they have OT services, if they receive an intervention, all of that will be individualized to them. And that is all starting on the 25th. Speaking of testing results, we were very pleased with our MAP results that we had MAP remotely 2 last Wednesdays in the month of December. And when we look at individual results, we're pleased with the growth. We were able to compare winter to winter, because that's the last time we took MAP. We didn't take it in the spring last year. We didn't take it in the fall this year. So comparing winter and winter, we see a lot of growth, individual growth with students. But what's really interesting is we see, if you look at 3rd grade winter last year and 3rd grade winter this year, which keep in mind they are not the same students, The RIT scores are 1 point off or the same, the average RIT scores. So we're very confident that while, yes, we have a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of things in place for that work, we're also really confident that we're holding very steady with our growth, and that our kids are continuing to make a lot of progress, and compared to last winter, are pretty much in place where they should be right now. So that's something we're really proud of.
We'd like to bring you a more formal presentation on academics next board meeting. We needed to wait for the math data at Giles.
Correct. Yeah. And that's it. If you have any questions for Lee?
I do, but I'm going to defer to the board first. Mrs. Guzik, 67%, just for clarity, that's who's coming back in starting?
64.
Oh, I thought it was
Sorry,
67.
64.
64%?
Correct, 64.
Okay. Support groups are available at Lee School for those that need it after the 4-hour block or however we're doing it?
Correct.
Into the afternoon.
Based on data. So it's based on the data of the test results.
So support groups are going to be available for Lee.
Correct.
I'm going to maybe go to Ms. Palmer on this one. Are support groups going to still be available at Giles?
Yes, sir.
64 to 67, and 64 at Lee. We don't have the percentage at Giles? All right. Okay.
So the support groups at Lee are available to anybody who's coming in, not just the students who are coming in person.
I understand. But they are available?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, when you say available, they're based on data.
Got it.
Right, so it's not a situation of a parent calling up and saying, can I have this? It's what data is showing.
Understood. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Michelle.
What do you want to do now?
Is the mic where it needs to be?
Hold on, just a
Yeah,
second.
not a problem.
Ideally, what needs to happen if we continue to do this is that when you speak, you get unmuted, speaks over here, while you speak here, you have to stop it.
Okay, moving on.
10 minutes needed
Thank
when
you.
someone's presenting.
Moving on to our board committees. Board policy and development, as mentioned a little bit later in the agenda, under board policy updates, 106, we'll have our second reading. That'll be mentioned later in the agenda. Now, building grounds.
Okay, I do have a lot as normal. I'm going to speak up here. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. The building and ground director will soon have 3 quotes for the Lee front entrance security renovation. Now that SDR has provided the architectural drawings for the changes. Soon a recommendation will come to the board and work will proceed. As I understand, it's estimated to take a full weekend and some time that the kids will be in session or kids will be in school, but should be more than that. And you've heard me describe this entrance renovation in recent months. A meeting between administration, building and ground departments, science teachers at Giles, North Schools Foundation, and myself happened last month to brainstorm the layout and work needed to make 2 STEAM labs at Giles. This would be replacing the home ec room and the art room. Both are very large rooms. Building and Grounds had already done some demo by then. This meeting helped determine the next steps needed in terms of building and grounds related. But currently ceilings are being reworked, electric needs are being planned, flooring is being worked on, and more to come with that. Superintendent Palmer and the science teachers at Giles have met with a STEAM Lab furniture fixture company to start the quoting process of the needs that these labs will have. More vendors will be met soon. This cost will be covered by North Schools Foundation as the primary source of funding. I mentioned that too last month. Citywide, our cleaning company has been very busy with deep cleaning involving moving furniture, cleaning out unused classroom items, and similar in closets. With that, old, unneeded, accumulated cleaning chemicals were disposed of finally, and a material safety data sheet library, known as NSD80 library, of what will be stored henceforth has been created. It's been a long needed state requirement, and now it's done. this reduction in all these sorts of chemicals is a reduced hazard, which is very welcome here too. Building and grounds patched up, repaired, and prepared many locations for painting, which allowed citywide, a crew from citywide, to paint 3 hallways and 12 classrooms at Giles and 15 classrooms at Lee. Building and grounds is working on a bid for asbestos removal project this summer. Still.
Your idea is what we should do.
Like I said, building and grounds working on an asbestos removal bid to happen this summer. The Lee daycare bathrooms had some flooring delays, but renovation is progressing. In the near future, we have to start discussing or considering what we're going to do about the Giles changing rooms, locker rooms. We can no longer use the basement rooms, and it's being considered just how necessary kids must or must not change for gym class. That's still being discussed, but we have to discuss a better situation for where that'll be, what construction may be needed, and the like. The scheduled maintenance of equipment, HVAC, plumbing, that I described last month is moving right along, and I've been told by the building and grounds director that it's really taken hold, and it's going to really help in the future with life safety and all operating systems working as we hoped. All the while, more life safety needs have been addressed and is an ongoing process. There was plenty, as I've mentioned in many recent months, there's all sorts of tiers in the life safety program, life safety report, but at the moment, Building and Grounds is really trying to tackle all the low-hanging fruit, those more simple repairs, along with planning and actually executing the larger ones. And as I said, one of the main features of the life safety was the doors. That has been completed, but we were a little over budget, or under budget, I should say. So there's a little more money to fix some more door issues, and when I have more news on that, I'll report. That's all I have.
Any board members questions for Frank on the B&G side of it? Quick question, Frank. After listening to Alan and after Elizabeth spoke, is there a plan for a B&G committee meeting to get with Pat and Joe potentially to kind of like put a timeline together as to what, priority 1 items are going to be listed? We'll know that, I know we will, but then to try to line that up with the monies that we're going to be getting and then try to maximize and allocate to what projects we want to do. So is there a meeting plan for that?
Right. When we wait until after we finish those bathrooms, so we...
Yeah, what I was hoping was maybe if Pat, Building and Ground Director, can come in on the February meeting and give a little more structured report, similar to what I do. And then following that, a more full-blown and a little more comprehensive Building and Grounds Committee meeting. And like you said, it'd be nice to finish off a couple of the ones that have been, like the lead daycare bathrooms that have taken a while. But yeah, I think that would be the plan.
Ultimately, the plan is to kind of timeline and put together what projects we're doing, when we'd like to do them by, and this is on the recommendation of Matt and Joe, along with the committee. I got it. Okay. Thanks, Frank. Anyone else? Thanks for that report, Frank. Communications? No report on communications. Finance. Mr. Brewer.
Shall I can use mine? I got it up here, so you have to. Okay, finance. We met on the 7th, and the main purpose of this meeting was to give a recommendation of the bond firm that we felt was the best fit. Obviously, tonight with the presentation, Raymond James was our choice. Both firms, Raymond James and B&A, both had good references. Both firms presented well. They had strong credentials, but at that meeting, myself, Frank, and President Palazzo were there, and it was nice to see all 8 committee members on the finance team participate and they all voted for Raymond James to be our firm, so we thought it was a good fit to move forward. So once again, just commenting on our committee, I want to thank the Finance Committee for participating and being involved, because the reason why we have these committees is to really get their feedback, and within our committee we have all strong committee members that understand the process, and they've been an extremely big help for us. So, but that's it. If any questions on more detail on why we went with Raymond James, I'd be more than happy to answer that. But that's it. Yeah.
Like you said, Frank and I were there, so I got a first-hand presentation of it. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you, Rhonda. Norwich, negotiations. There's nothing to report on that end tonight. Norwich Park District?
Nothing.
No report on that?
We signed it. We reviewed the contract at the last board meeting, so
We have an updated contract tonight. Their lawyers made just some minor changes. We have that for you. But what you signed last board meeting stands as far as all of the major points.
Any minor changes that you mentioned were noticed on their end? Did our law firm also, are they aware of that?
We'll show you. They're very minor.
Okay.
They literally move some things around. So you're going to be able to review that tonight. We'll show you the comparison.
ASB, anything more? No. Okay, nothing. Old business, board policy updates, as mentioned a little bit ago, issue 106, we're in our second reading. New business, cleaning contract extension. Ms. Palmer?
So we have been very happy with Citywide. It is a one-year contract. We would like to consider extending that contract. It is the recommendation of our B&G department to do so. So we would bring that forward to the next board meeting if you think that we should do that. I'm just looking for guidance from the board. Should we follow the recommendation? Yeah. We can bring that forward, and I can pursue that with Citywide.
Is there a deadline, the contract deadline, or?
Well, it goes until June 30th, so we would need to extend it, basically. We went out for bid last year, and we've been very happy with them, so we wouldn't want to go out for bid again. We would want to go ahead and exercise our extension, but it would take approval from you. So
I think if that's a recommendation from the proper people in place, then yeah, I think it's appropriate to bring it to the board when need be.
All right.
Unless any other board member has.
Unless there's any objections,
yeah.
We would bring that forward for your review. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any comments from the board? Okay. One comment I want to make, and I want to know if there's any objection from any other board members. Moving forward, I'd like to see the board meetings specifically here at Lee School. And the reason for that, very specifically, is all the meetings are going to be recorded just like they are. They're going to go online. Hopefully we can start getting people back into our meetings sooner than later. But for our district secretary, whose office is here, all the materials, the data that we need, they're housed here. So I'm not sure I see a purpose moving further to have it at Giles. I'd like to have the meetings consistently here at Lee School, specifically for that reason, unless the board sees different. Okay, so moving forward, just a note, these meetings are going to be at Lee School, reason being the district office is here in this building. Thank you on that. Okay, next on our agenda is closed session. I need a motion to adjourn the closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees and review of closed session minutes, all in accordance with the Illinois compiled statutes. Motion. A lot of motions there. I'm not sure who's. We're going to give it to Maria. Maria makes the motion. It's seconded by Tim. Sarah, can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Lala? Yes. Mr. Ludston?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Lozano?
Yes.
Mr. Tribuzio?
Yes.
Mr. Biondo?
Yes.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Okay, that motion does carry. We're going to now exit open session. I'd ask the board if they need to take a break for any reason, it's 7:54. We'll return and we'll get into close at 8:10 p.m.
We're going to end the Zoom session.
Let's be clear to the public.
Yeah, we're going to, okay, so
Unmute,
I will
I walk
unmute,
out.
hold on.
just so they understand what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to now be moving into closed session, so we are going to end the Zoom now. When we return, I will reopen the Zoom and let people back in. I do not know when that will be, so you're welcome to sit in the waiting room and wait for me. All right, thank you.
8:10, guys, that work? Yep. Okay, 8:10. I need a motion to return to open session.
Second.
Motion made by Frank and seconded by Louis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, we are now back in open session. Note the time, 11:59 p.m., January 19th, 2021. Moving on to our consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Okay, I'll look for that motion.
Motion.
Motion made by Lorenzo, seconded by Pasquale. Sarah, roll call, please.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Biondo?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Lozano?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala? Yes. Mr. Tribuzio?
Yes.
Mr. Ludston?
Yes.
Okay, motion does carry. Moving on to specific action items. I need a motion to approve Raymond James and Associates Incorporated as bond underwriter. Any discussion? Yeah, I'll look for that motion.
No motion.
Pasquale, seconded by Maria. Sarah, roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala? Yes. Mr. Tribuzio?
Yes.
Mr. Ludston?
Yes.
Mr. Lozano?
Yes.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes. Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the resolution declaring the intent to issue $1,425,000 working cash fund bonds for the purpose of increasing the district's working cash fund and directing that notice of such intention be published in the manner provided by law. Any discussion? Motion, please.
Motion. Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Pasquale. Roll call.
Mr. Ludston?
Yes.
Mr. Biondo?
Yes.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Tribuzio?
Yes.
Mr. Lozano?
Yes.
Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. I need a motion to authorize the district architect to officially file the required 10-year life safety survey. Any discussion on that? Motion, please.
Second.
Motion made by Renzo, seconded by Frank. Roll call, please.
Mr. Berardi?
Yes.
Mr. Tribuzio?
Yes.
Mrs. Lala? Yes. Mr. Palazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Lozano?
Yes.
Mr. Ludston?
Yes.
Mr. Biondo?
Yes.
Okay, motion does carry. It's now time for board meeting reflection. Please be honest, be sincere. This is how we get better.
That's right, you don't want
And I will ask for a motion to adjourn at 12:02 a.m., January 20th, 2021.
I motion.
Second.
Motion made by Pasquale, seconded by Renzo. All in favor, say aye. Aye. If there's any opposed, please say nay. Okay, meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all.